one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we got John Walters up here. He's our prayer guy. That's what the trolls call him.
Thank you, Steve. I didn't know I was going to do this in the last minute, so I wrote this, but I haven't put it in practice, so you have to cut me a little slack. In the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Bless the Lord, all my soul, and bless his holy name. He pardons all our iniquities. He heals all our ills. He redeems our lives from destruction. He crowns us with kindness and compassion. For the times that we have failed you and sinned against you, we ask for your forgiveness, and we will try to do better in the future with your help. We thank you for the love of our beautiful families and friends. We thank you for those that came before us, established, fought, and sacrificed for this shining city on the hill we call the United States of America. We thank you for bringing us here together today in fellowship and common cause. Lord God, we know and can see all the sin and evil in today's society. Help us be your hands and voice in the struggle to bring love and sanity back to our world, our country, our state, our schools, and our villages. We ask you to send the Holy Spirit down and clothe us in the full armor of God, the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the gospel of peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, so that we can fight for what is right and good in your name. We thank you, and we thank you for this meal as we pray together. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are about to receive through your bounty, through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. And as you can see, WIND was out in the parking lot, and they had to leave. And a lot of our speakers are homesick, and a lot of our members of the HTRO are off sick. Our vice chair is gone. Our co-chair isn't here. So you just have to put up with me. That's why we have 3 chairmen. But we're still going to make this interesting. No. Okay, one thing that everyone needs to know, we say prayers every single meeting, and then when the county board Republican caucus comes to my campaign office for all their meetings every month, they have to say prayers too, and the staff has to say them too. We force anybody that's coming to any of our meetings to say prayers, whether they like it or not, because Homer Republicans believe in God. And unfortunately, Father Tom Loya, who was supposed to be here, too. So, I can't be like Father Tom Loya, because I ain't a priest. But what Father Tom usually talks about is real important, that you're never supposed to be afraid of anything. As soon as you're afraid, you lose. You cannot win and be afraid. That's Father Tom's main thing that he always says. He told me that 365 times in the Bible says, be not afraid. So, no fear is allowed in my mind, or anybody else's. So when we get attacked, it doesn't bother me, it rolls off, because I'm not afraid of those stupid attacks. It's a real important thing to have, no fear. The rest of the people that are running for office, they don't have fear. That's why they can win. If you run around and you're scared, you will lose. It's just common sense. We have Rosie over here will come up and talk to us a little later. She's running for mayor. She ain't afraid. She's going out and fighting to win. And people people are saying nasty things about her. Not quite as nasty as what they say about me, but they say nasty stuff. You know, and they have like Christine MC, she's running for city council in the village of Homer Glen. They think that she's bad news. They call her some stupid name like she's supposed to be my girlfriend on the side. Sugar mama. That's what I always forget. So I call her Fluff. You know, it's like dumb things that people try to get under your skin. And you just say, oh, they're the ones that are stupid. They're the ones that need to be afraid. So I just ignore things, and I think I always continue like that, and our crew, the Homer Republicans, will always do the same thing. The Homer Republicans, he has 488 people on the email list as of today, which is a big number. And all day long, I'm answering the phone. I can't make it, I'm sorry, I'm sick. Can't make it, sorry, sick. My kids are sick, I gotta stay home. I mean, it's like, what the hell's going on? And then when Ruben calls me, he says he can't stay here because his entire kitchen staff, the Ruby Dobby, is off sick. So I'm guessing that we got a pretty bad flu running around here. But, so what do? You say, like one of my friends said, well, what are you going to do? Half your speakers are gone. I said, no, I ain't worried about it. I got diverticulitis. Bombs for America. But just to give you an idea what Homer Republicans have done, it's real important that you vote for Homer Republicans because we are conservative Republicans. We believe in the Constitution. That means we believe in the Second Amendment. In our township, we voted to be a sanctuary state for the Second Amendment. We believe in life, so we're a sanctuary township for life. We believe in putting up a manger for Christmas, because most of the people in our township are Polish, Italian, and Muslim. And guess what? Everybody likes that manger except one small group of loud voices in a small room. I call them trolls. They are actually socialists. But what can you do about that? Nothing. You just got to listen to them. So as I'm talking now, and I'm sure they're going to critique this on the clown car, because I'm a star on the Will County you guys can FOIA me and you can send the call to the Attorney General. It's just how it is. I don't like you guys. I don't like what you believe in, and I never will. I love our group. I love the people that believe in God. I love the people that believe in the Constitution. And that's most of us. The school board people, we have 6 slates of people running in Homer and Lockport for school board. All those people have one thing in common. They're moms and dads that are fed up with what the schools are doing to everybody. They're fed up with the taxes. But more importantly, they're fed up with the school taking control of their children. Nobody wants to give their children to the state. And that's what these schools want. And the schools, they're getting really nervous now because our people are not going to be going to their stupid things that they call forums with all the questions made by teachers and the teachers union so they can make fun of us when we answer how they don't want it. The library board, it's the same thing. We have people running for library board in Homer and Lockport. Because Homer Township Republicans expanded out into library. And when we get calls from people on the library board, and they're saying, well, you guys were afraid to answer our questionnaire. Well, I advise them, don't answer the questionnaire, because those people that made up the questions are the ones you're running against. So how is that considered fair? It's just beyond reasonable doubt that they think we're idiots. that we would agree to go to something that they control 100% and that everybody in the room is against us? That ain't going to happen, not under my watch. Never. I advise these guys so they'll win. And most all of them, as a matter of fact, I don't think any of them ever ran for office before, went for school board or library board. And we should be really proud of all of them. And see a couple of Dave Aniak here, he's got a broken leg and toothbrush. And he's showing up. He walks his precinct. We're a walking machine. I mean, these are people that have the heart in it. You got John Walters. He's heading up the Homer Library School, Homer Library Board, and it's mostly young people that have no clue what they're doing, and John's heading it up, trying to lead them like Moses through the desert.
Looks like it.
But that's why I said that. It's real important that you see what's going on. You know, and I see old friends, Tom Booth, we go back forever. You know, we've always had this, he's with real estate, and we've always had the same idea about property rights. It's real important. And we got Hunter and Chris, they're Lipinski guys that joined the Homer Republicans, and they're hard-working guys, and I really respect the hell out of them because they do so much for us. They contribute ideas that we all need to hear. You know, I'm just looking around the room. The man in the street, Mark Weimer. I can't say the last name. Mark Weimer. Oh, wait. We got Doug Mayo from the Illinois State Rifle Association. They do more for us for our Second Amendment than the NRA could ever do. And we used to do a fundraiser every year for them. And we stopped because of COVID, and we should probably start picking it up again. But he's been there since before I even knew what it was. So we have all these people, you know, and I'm looking in the back, we got Judge Artman. That's probably supposed to say his name because it's illegal. But, you know, he's a great guy. Mike Clausen, my own. He's an iron worker, and he's running for the school district, District 205. So he works a full-time job in campaigns, and he puts up signs. I mean, these people are hard workers. You got his wife, is Chrissy MC from the Illinois Patriots. And the MC is just there because she didn't want no one to know her real name. Now everybody does. And she's running for city council. And she's going to be a hell of a city council person. And you got Vicki Bozen next to her. That's not the first in the township. Talking about a hard-working woman. And she went out and got grants on her own to save us $15,000 just for lights. And then she's working on ARPA money, American Rescue Act money we're getting. And then, I can't say it right, CBDG, that's HUD money, to build a community, a family community center. So we call it Family Senior Center. You know, and we go down the room, Mike Bonomo, he heads up the seniors. And Mike has an event every month for the senior people. Then he has other stuff like yoga, and he's going to do something where he look at the stars, and his senior tea at Casa with Rosie, and they had a great deal for Valentine's Day. You know, and that was at Blueberry Hill. I mean, we do so much. Yet the other side picks on whatever hits their little stupid brains and starts yelling about us. And they pick on the dumbest things. You know, because when they call the Attorney General, and the Attorney General ain't the actual Kwame Raoul, or how you say the guy's name, you get a different guy. And he says, how am I going to take down your major? I go, I ain't going to do it. And he goes, you have to. I'm with the Attorney General's office. And I said, well, I ain't going to do it, because if I take it down, you're denying my rights, because I believe And if I take it down, that means you're making me an atheist. They don't know how to answer it because no one ever challenged them. And then during the mask time, when they called me up from the health department, said we have to have masks at our meeting because a handful of trolls wanted to have us wear masks. So I told them the same thing. I ain't going to do that. We're not, it's going to be optional. And they said, we're from the health department and you have to do it. And I said, send the sheriff to arrest me. I'm not going to do it. And guess what? I never got arrested. Never. So when you start thinking about what's going on in this world, the most important thing is not to be afraid of anything, and then having the courage to stand up and say no, especially when something's wrong. You've got to say no, and having the courage to stand up that a lot of people when you know you're right. Because if you don't do it, now we'll go to Father Tom's conversation again. He said that if you're an elected official, when you die, you go up to the heaven, right? And God says, why did you do that? Why didn't you do a certain thing? And you say, well, everyone would be mad at me. And he says, well, too bad. Now I'm mad at you. You're going downstairs. Because when you're an elected person, you're like a priest or a cop or anybody that's in the public, God holds you to a much higher standard. And if you don't live up to that standard, you've got a lot of things you've got to answer for. And everyone here is going to end up croaking at one time, right? I might go before you guys, so I'll be waving at you because I'm going straight up. But all this stuff is real important to understand. And everybody in the room here, we all depend on each other. So when one person's falling down or one person's feeling down or out, you start to pick them up. Your partners pick you up. And everyone holds you up. And then once you're up again, you're rolling. And now you might be picking one of them up sometime. And then you always have a person, like there's a guy in the back over there. He reminds me of, he's young, but I remember my dad. He talks just like my dad. Carmen Consolino. And guess who he's married to? Jennifer Consolino. And Jennifer's like the most honest, straightforward human being you've ever seen in your life. She reads stuff like a professional reader on the TV. And I listen to her and I go, oh, wow. Sometimes it's real short, sometimes it's long. But no matter what it is, when she reads it, everyone listens. And it makes sense. And the other side fears her. And why they fear her? Because she tells the truth. And she's not afraid to. So, God bless you. God bless everybody that came out and helped us. And with that, I forgot somebody here. Might have pulled my mic up here. Jay Rody, he couldn't be here. He goes out and he puts up signs all over Homer with Mike Clausen and Ruben and Mike Carlson. It's a dedicated guy, and he's running for city council. And Jay Rody is a great human being. He's one of the few people who I'm looking here, I don't want to screw up and forget anybody. You got Dan Bielko here. He's on the city council. And guess what he did? He got the city council of Homer Glen to say prayers.
Yeah.
Besides that, he's a great city council member because he holds firm to all his beliefs and he fights for all the people. And that's real important. So I have the utmost respect for Dan because of that. And that means a lot, because if I don't respect you, I treat you like a dog. It's the trolls. They come by and say, you want to talk? And I say, you know what? You don't like me, I don't like you, so just leave me alone. And that's how you have to be. Instead of sitting and arguing with somebody that would like to stick a knife in you, you just walk away. I especially when they start out yelling. We got, I said Rosie,
Brad.
Brent Portfolio. I'm looking at my list. I'm like, Brent Portfolio is the road commissioner. And he cut the taxes the first year, and he cut them again the second year. And the second year, I told him, I said, are you sure you did it? Because you cut it a lot the first year. And he says, yeah, we can still pull it off, so he cut it more. The township, we cut the taxes about 20% of the dollars. Brent cut it higher. And then this year, he cut it about 20% of the dollars. So your taxes keep going down because of the Homer Republicans. We all respect seniors, and we understand that every time you raise the taxes, the seniors on a fixed income, they really feel it. Because I got an interview by a young lady that's going to college, and she's going for a scholarship, and they had an interview representative of the town, and I explained to her about the donut hole. And I don't know if there's anybody in this room that knows what a donut hole is, but that's when your insurance runs out because you met the maximum amount of money the government's going to give you as a senior. And now what do? You have to eat whatever you can eat, and you got to buy your medicine or you die. So I was telling her about the first time that I went to some older person's house, and I was sitting there talking to the lady, and I saw dog cans on her counter. And I said, where's your dogs? I like dogs. I want to pet your dogs. And the lady says, I don't have no dogs. And then I'm thinking, well, that means what? You know, and so I went home and I told my mom. And it's because my mom was in the senior group. She said sometimes they have to eat dog food because they can't afford real food because of the donut hole. And with that, I realized something. So I ordered more food at the senior lunches. I was head of the seniors at the time, so they could fill their bags up in their purse and take it home. And then that was my first big fight with the supervisor because she didn't want me to do that no more. So she cut the number of people I could order food for. That drove me nuts. I would rather order double what you need than take it home, right? But that's what's going on out there. Seniors are real proud people. And they'll never tell you that they're broke. They'll never cry about nothing. They're from the Depression era. Whatever they get dished out, they figure out how to deal with it. So that's why what Mike Romo's doing is so important. You know, and Jennifer, she's a volunteer with Mike, so is Rosie, so is MC, so is Vicki Boson. You know, I mean, go down the list. Who am I mean, we visited Angel Shea. She's on the township too. She's our collector. She's hand in hand with Mike for everything he does. Mark Garland's on the township. He holds food drives for the Lockport Fish Pantry, so the people in Homer and Lockport have food. Mark does a great job. But all these people, we just started micro pantries for dogs and cats, you know, any kind of animal, and humans. You know, so we're doing such great things. So I want everyone to walk away from this with the idea that when we're out there using the money we raise here, to have a campaign office and to get people elected, it's going for a good cause. It ain't going for a bunch of morons. It's going for people that are working for everybody. And everybody benefits. So I think I talked enough here, but God bless all you guys. And I'm going to get up, the first speaker would be Rosie from Rose Leiter from Scotland. I just had a question on her when I was a little kid. After high school, I thought she was hot. She broke me up.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I'm moving a little slow. The knee's not working very well today. You would think after a year it would be perfect, but it's not. Today I had the opportunity of walking through Old Oak and talking to a lot of fellow Republicans. And one of the first questions they said to me was, who do you support, Republicans or Democrats? And I said, but this is a nonpartisan race. We don't care about that. We want we really need to focus and work together to keep it like that. Because believe me, they are out there and they are trying to break us down. And and part of the reason that I'm running for mayor is because I am trying to keep our town together. I'm trying to right the wrongs of the last 8 years. For the last 8 years, we've had no building, nothing with our infrastructure. We have to worry about our boundaries with Lockport. We have to worry about our sewer systems, our water. So there's so many things that need to be addressed. And I feel with all my experience, and I think Senator O'Malley will tell you, I worked under the senator, that I'm pretty good with constituents. That was probably the most important part of my job as a legislative assistant. So I have worked with many agencies throughout the state of Illinois. And with that experience, you learn how to work with people. You learn how to make things happen. You learn how to listen and do whatever it takes for the residents. And that is what my plan is moving forward. I'm not listening to the trolls. There might be 100 or so of them out there, but there's another 24,000 people that are depending on us to make a difference. With Christy Clausen, Dan Fialco. Dan Fialco, let me tell you a little bit about Dan Fialco. He's our money man. He has kept us so fiscally responsible since we took office in 2021. Our treasury report started out, I think it was like 26 million, and we are now at 37 million. And that's thanks in part to Dan Fialco. Jennifer Consolino, she is our guard dog. She lets nothing get past her. Nothing.
Honey Badger.
Yeah, Honey Badger, that's her name. So we have such a great team with Trustee Pazmino. Trustee Pazmino and myself are working together at Economic Development. We're working in our town center. But the most important thing is that we're listening. We're listening to what the residents are asking for. And that is most important. We put a playground in our park. We have the first Veterans Memorial going in our park. We've taken on 6 additional parks from the township. So we're in the process, yes, thank you Supervisor Balich. We're working on our boundaries. We actually annexed Chantina Farm into Homer Glen. And if I have my way, I'm going to say the Paul Farm and all the rest of the open space is going to come in over too. So we got a little bit of property on our So we're trying to secure our future for Homer Glen moving forward. And in order to do that, we need to work on our commercial corridor. We need to work on our rooftops. There's so many things that are yet left to be done. So that's why I'm running for mayor, because I'm a mover and a shaker, and I'm going to get some stuff done for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosie. Now we're going to hear from a really, really good person. He ran for Congress, and he's friends with the Trump family, but he's also my friend, and I like him. His name is Scott Casper. Scott, you want to talk about?
Thank you, Steve. Like a lot of people have been recovering from some sort of flu, or what it is. COVID-23. But join me in a round of applause for Steve and for all the wonderful parents. interesting times. There's a number of conservative events going on this weekend. This is one of them. You know, the Homer Township Republican Organization Lincoln Day Dinner. I know last night in Carroll County, they had a Lincoln Day Dinner. And across the state this weekend, there's at least a dozen Lincoln Day dinners going on. In McHenry County today, the McHenry County GOP had a Exposing Radicals War on Kids. It's a holiday seminar featuring Turning Point USA founder and president and Wheeling native Charlie Kirk. And at the same time, we've had a number of liberal groups protesting all of this. In fact, we were perhaps concerned they might show up here. One group is Stand Up Against Hate. It's a group by Patrick Murphin in McHenry County. Various chapters of the National Organization for Women, or NOW, which, despite its name as a pro-abortion, pro-LGBTQIA2S plus, that's what they go by, liberal organization. You know, Governor Pritzker, through the Illinois State Police, put out a statement yesterday that February 25th is a day of hate, when Nazi and anti-Semitic groups will be congregating and encouraging hate speech and hate actions this weekend. The governor's office went on to say that their terrorism and intelligence center is monitoring community organizations and platforms this weekend. Hi, JB, if you're in the room. This is the environment that we conservatives find ourselves in under the radical left agenda of Governor J.B. Pritzker and the Biden administration, which have taken God out of the schools, have taken away parents' authority over their children, have declared war on the traditional Judeo-Christian family structure, have gone from making abortion safe, legal, and rare to making it available all the way up to the moment of birth. And have passed legislation to make Illinois a destination for abortions, a destination for puberty blocker drugs, and gender reassignment surgeries. They've passed unconstitutional legislation to impinge upon our Second Amendment rights. And now they're seeking to pass a non-citizens' rights bill to allow legal aliens to vote. But yet this weekend, we are the domestic terrorists. It's unbelievable. There are two things we must do for the sake of our families and our communities. One, we must hold our elected leaders accountable. At Illinois Review, which I'm the publisher, together with my business partner, Mark Vargas, who many of you know from his show on Sunday nights on AM 560 called Mark My Words, along with our staff writers and contributors, and Mark Warmiller is here, and Dr. Connells is here, contributors of Illinois Review. We're doing just that. We're exposing the hypocrisy and corruption among our elected leaders. How did we do so poorly on November 8th? Why was there no red wave in Illinois? You know, folks, I submit to you that the Uniparty is real. Too many of our elected leaders who have an R next to their name don't share our conservative values. You know, they're too willing to cut deals with Democrats to keep their fancy titles. But that leads me to my second point. We must support conservative grassroots candidates like the ones that we're celebrating here tonight. And by support, that means door knocking for candidates. That means making phone calls for these candidates. That means telling your neighbors, your friends, and your family about these candidates to get them to go out and vote. The candidates have put themselves in the arena to be marred by dust and sweat and blood, as Teddy Roosevelt once said. But to win, every single one of us in this room must also put ourselves in that arena. It's a team effort. With the help of each and every one of us in this room, these candidates will win. And together, as Steve often says, we'll fix where we live.
Scott said, fix where we live, and Scott's helping out the nearest congressman that's a Republican, Mary Miller, and she's downstate, about 2 hours away. That's the nearest Republican congressperson to us. And Mary Miller adopted Fix Where We Live. And she's been doing it since the primary. And that helped her win. And guess where that came from? Homer Republicans. And the county also adopted it. And because we have control of what we say, we're calling all of our breakfasts and meetings that we have outside of the county building, Fix Where We Live. So that's going to be said a lot in the coming future because it's an important phrase. And now I saw Yvonne, and I know Ruben would have my head. Ruben's my co-chair, and Ruben keeps me in line. He's a great guy, he's smart, and I tend to get off on the deep end. But Yvonne Chadnick, she walked in, and she's running for clerk, and she's going to do a fantastic job. She's a new person. And on behalf of all of us, we thank you. The next person we have is Christina MC, but really Christina Clausen. And I was going to call her husband up to talk. She said Mike might get mad at me because I didn't prepare him. And I don't want to get him looking. When he fights me, I'm dead.
On why you should vote for me, because most of you are going to vote for me. So I want to talk about why we're here. We're here for the HTRO. We're here for Steve Balich. I'm going to tell you how I came to join this group. So 2018-19, I went to a school to talk about my son at an IUP meeting. And during that meeting, we got up, we said the pledge, and we went to sit back down. They told us, no, don't sit back down, there's a second pledge. So at the end of the pledge, my kids were pledging every day to be good global citizens. That's when I realized that indoctrination was in our schools. A couple years later, COVID happened and I pulled my kids out of school. Well, I tried to fight against the masks. I started a group called Illinois Patriots, and during that getting a little bigger, county board member Frankie Pretzel reached out and said, what can I do to help? I said, get me involved in Homer Glen politics. He said, well, I got a guy, but he's a little rough around the edges. I was like, that's my guy. So I met Steve and Jen. They were the first people I ever got at Homer Glen, HTRO politics, and the rest is history. I looked for an army, and man, did I get it. These guys are amazing. We are so blessed to have such a big, amazing group of not just Republicans, but friends. I I preach a lot on social media about getting involved, and I feel like we all went to sleep. We all just trusted that our public servants were going to do what they were supposed to do, and they haven't. They failed us. And it takes people standing up. It takes courage. I went by MC because I was afraid. And like Steve says, and Father Tom, do not be afraid. So I'm trying everything I can to get people to stand up and run for office and try to keep things red and keep things the way they're supposed to be. So, like everybody said, get out, talk to your neighbors, try to find out who the Republicans are running in your area, because I know a lot of you aren't from Homer Glen, and spread the word and help these people out. We need to help these grassroots candidates. We have somebody from mayor, clerk, trustees, school board members, library board members. All our seats are filled and ready to roll. So let's get it on April 4th, get out and vote, and please tell your neighbors and friends. Thank you, and thank you, Steve Ballich, for everything you do. You're an amazing human being, and that is why I will always be your sugar mama.
I forgot Audrey Campos is over here. She's with the Southland Republican Women. And then Hermine, you guys probably know her because of all the coffee and donuts. This is right over there smiling. She's embarrassed about it. But anyway, and you got Joe Bozen who comes out with his music. And he's actually like a big band backup thing. I forgot what it's called. I don't listen to this stuff. I don't listen to Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Dean Martin. I'm older. I like that kind of music. I never got into this rap crap or this other kind of stuff. But anyway, we got, I don't know if Senator O'Malley wants to say anything. If he does, come on up. I want to thank Pat for helping us out. Give us a good deal over here. And I went to high school with him. We're friends for a long time. I graduated in 68, so we're old. And we're good friends for a long time.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I just, first of all, I want to welcome you to Wales Country Club. Some of you may not know, I'm from a very large family, he knows that. 14 of us, Irish. Italians are a little more moderate in some things. However, they're not moderate in what they say out loud. Witness our young man. As Steve and I go back to the class of 64 through 68. You know, we were the second graduating class at Marist High School. It was a great. You know, I don't know if that means you went in politics because you participated in starting something, but it did make a difference for me. I can assure you that. Steve wasn't always around school. I mean, that other line, he was gone. I don't know where you're going, Steve, but it's great to be here. The young lady who mentioned my name earlier, Rose Rinders, is someone I've known for more than a few years. And Rose, I'm not going to say how many years because you might not want me to say how many years. But Rose did work for me when I was in the state senate. She managed our legislative office locally, and she did do a great job. And I'll tell you one thing, based on my experience with Italian women, including Rose, and there's an expression, you know, if you want to get something done, give it to a woman. In this group, I'm going to say, give it to an Italian woman, because boy, there's something in the genes that really pours out. I want to talk about something that Steve talked about earlier that I think is a wonderful thing for all of us to consider. I'm already, you know, my name is O'Malley, therefore Irish, there's a joke about, and you may have heard of it if you're not Irish, you might have still have heard it, which is that among the Irish, our idea of diplomacy is getting somebody to go where we want them to go, which might not be a place they really want to go, but they go there because they feel good after we've convinced them how nice we are. The Italian version, I really should say, the version out of Steve, which is not really Italian. What would you say it is? Sicilian. My wife and I moved down to Florida, East Coast, I think we're now at about 15 plus years. And since then, it must be something about the East Coast of Florida. A lot of, we say Italians. You better be careful when those New Jersey folks show up. And you say they're Italian, what do you mean I'm Italian? I'm Sicilian. Or they'll talk about a relative. Say, not 100%. There's a strong different feelings among these Sicilians. So you got good leadership out in Homer. I've been familiar with Homer since the effort to organize it into a great, I think it's still the last municipality organized in the state of Illinois, which is not easy to do. You got to hand it to the good folks of Homer that they persisted, eventually got Homer Glen as a municipality, which gives you a lot of control locally that you might not otherwise have. Otherwise, we'll kind of cede it to the county board. And what's this new expression? Our new label is fix it locally, fix it in my home where I live. That's a great concept. It really is, and I applaud you for developing it, owning it, and sharing it anywhere and everywhere. But keep it alive in your community. As I think is still the youngest municipality in the state of Illinois. It was hard to get it organized, and those of you who live locally in that town know that you have, what are we up to, how many mayors now in about 20 years?
3.
Four? I think it is 4.
Rose will be the 4th.
I would be close.
You'll be the 4th? Okay. Well, that's a lot of turnover in a short period of time. Rose, when you're successful, you know that a lot of our success in the 18th legislative district that I represented was by working closely with mayors. It didn't matter when I served, and I'm a Republican, when I served, Republican or Democrat, the mayors, once they get elected, are far less partisan, at least with somebody like me when I was in office. You know why? Because they want people who can perform and get the job done. It's not that they abandon their partisanship, but you have to have people represent you. If you're Republican-minded and that's your spirit, your philosophy, keep it alive. You know how you get it done? Somebody else was up there, I think this young lady said something to the effect, get out there and work for each other. Right? Work for each other. If you're going to be a Republican-dominated community and you want your agenda, an agenda that's family-oriented, has a spirit that's associated with your faith, and I can go on trying to describe it, but family, faith, and freedom might be the way to say it. If we don't keep that alive locally, it's going to die. And there goes our Constitution, eventually. And we see that happening already. I've taught far beyond what I should, but I am very grateful to have the opportunity to stand up. I would have imposed it on Steve, but if he wants me to make remarks, I just want to think, this was a great guy when I first met him. He's been a great guy ever since I met him. And unfortunately, in those middle years, we're busy working and don't see each other often, but one of the great people, by the way, on the way here, I got a call from John Mooney. You don't need to know who John Mooney is, other than I can tell you, went to the Naval Academy in our senior year in high school. I'm just going John hit it. He's a baseball player and a football player. And he he had 624 in senior year. And that's why, among other things, they wanted him at the Naval Academy. He was also the third brightest kid in our class. But John called me out of the blue, and I said, I'm on my way here. And he says, please say hello to you. Great guy, Marine.
Yeah.
There it is. It's not, you know what, he's half Italian. That only name is deceptive. That's an Irish and Italian. I can't tell you whether it was Sicilian. But we all knew Steve. We thought a lot of Steve. And he believed me, he had energy in high school when we saw a lot more of each other. And since my election, it wasn't my election, but the election, I challenged the state for the Republican nomination for governor. You know, this is not bragging, but I can assure you that had I been successful and was able to do it, I would have stood fast by those things that we all share in this room and believe in. And if that, it's not that I would have, should have, or could have, but if I did, the state of Illinois would be a very different place than it is today. And I want you to think about and remember that, because we now have had, what are we going on, 20 years we had 4 years in between. But you know, we had 4 years in between when we had a Republican governor. It was all about he could buy the election. We don't want to buy the election. Because once you buy the election, you don't owe anybody anything. And you can make decisions that may not be in keeping with what you ran for. We have not had the representation for 20 plus years now that we should have, all the way up to the governor's office. And by not having that, look what we have now. Who would have thought? It's I'm trying to resist the bad names I developed during the COVID period. I'm used to like, don't take this offensively at all. But we used to around here, what's the fat name got for us today? You know, because that's all he had for us is BS and those COVID, well, so they're maybe mandates. A lot of people owe it for that. A lot of people didn't show up in the Assembly to actually go into session, Democrats and Republicans alike. We need to do exactly what was said here earlier. We need to work hard for each other, get Republicans elected, and change the face of Illinois. As somebody who has traveled all over the state of Illinois, I can assure you, the values in this room are not a minority in the state of Illinois. Let's not give up on the state. What we need to do is be for ourselves and get people elected who believe in the things we believe in and make a difference. God bless you all, and Steve, God bless you. Keep doing the great work you're doing.
We're good friends for a long time. And when he ran, do you remember? I always did tease about it. I got 3,000 signatures for Gavin ran for governor by myself. You know why? Because I went to high school with him and I liked him. He was my friend. And I believed in him. You know, and that's kind of what all this is about. We have to believe in each other and know that we can do it. And when we, like I said before, we start Walton, we got to help each other up. You know, when I get sad in my brain, I go, what the hell's going on? So then I go call up, is your husband home, Jennifer? Oh, I heard my dad talking. But he sounds just like my dad. The same words, the same facial, the same hand gestures. It's like, no, it's like the old days. You know, I just love it. But now we're going to hear from somebody really special. I've been friends with this lady probably since about 2007, somewhere in that range. And her husband was a friend of mine, and if he was here, he would tell you how we met, me and her husband. I had the Homer Lockport Tea Party with Vivian Porter, and they had the Joliet Tea Party. And both groups were pretty successful. So I got hold of Tim Carlitis' phone number, and I called him up, and we met at the Purple Onion, which is in Homer, and we're talking, and I thought, hey, this guy's a nice guy. And then he says, I want you to understand something. I'm a social conservative. Well, back in them days, I didn't know what the hell social conservative means. So what did I think? I thought he was a socialist. So this isn't true. So I started, hey, I can't do nothing with you. I don't like socialists. And I got an anti-socialist sticker on my car. And everywhere I went, I don't like it. I tell him, I can't do nothing with you. Just get out of my sight. And the guy next to me is going, he's one of your guys. He's just like you. I'm going, I ain't no freaking socialist. And so we're arguing. And he says, just listen to what he's saying. Then I get it. But back in them days, language was, different for me than for him. And he became one of my best friends. And we did wonders. We formed the Will County Tea Party Alliance. And we had over 11,000 emails. And we did all kinds of rallies all over the place. 3,000 was a small number for those rallies. We would go to the Serb Church, VFW clubs. We went to Joliet at the Seal Farm. I think we went to so many places. But Debbie was at the time a singer. I thought she was a professional singer. She made a special song for me. I play all the time in my car because I like it. And she's also with Moms for America. And I think everybody knows what Moms for America is. That's a real special group. That's what everybody hears about. So, come on up here. And you know what? It's a pleasure to have you. God bless you.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, everyone. I was going to share that story because it is so funny. We're like, a social conservative, he just wrote us off. We're like, so that's one of the many funny stories with Steve. We do a lot. And then, actually, I really attribute the fact that I ran for Plainfield Township Trustee to Steve. I wasn't going to run, and he said, Deb, you'll love doing it. Go ahead, run, be for trustee. So I did it for 7 years. Then after that, my husband ran for Will County Board, and after he was done, they asked me to run in that position, and Steve said, go, run, and be a county board member. So I gave him some applause here for the fact that he encouraged me to run. Speaking of the Tea Party, we did that for, I don't know how many years it was a long time. We got to a point where everybody would come to our events because they were so fun and so engaging, and it became a social group. We all became great friends. But everyone kind of lost the focus of what they should be doing and what we would hope to accomplish. So at one point, we said with the Tea Party movement, we said, listen, we've all become great friends, but at this point, we trained you, we've listened to all these great speakers, go and run. And everybody went and ran. So it is a testimony to just early beginnings of just saying yes, put your hat in the ring to help inspire people, and then they run. And they change their area and their culture and their community. So yes, I am a part of Moms for America. I'm the vice president there now. I host their podcast, their weekly podcast. It is really a great organization. I personally became involved in the conservative movement when I was coming out of high school, very interested in the pro-life movement. And that kind of just continued my journey. Like I mentioned, I ran for a couple different things here. And about 7 years ago, although I was in the political arena, I kind of wanted to do something representing women. And when those crazy pink-hatted women started thinking that they were speaking for me, I said, absolutely no way. What women's group, what mom's group could I get involved with? So I stepped in and I started volunteering, and fast forward now, I'm on their national board and their vice president. So Moms for America is a national organization. It was founded in 2004. It's been around for quite a while. We have about 500,000 moms all across the country that are mobilizing and uniting in fighting for our families, our faith, our freedom, and the Constitution. We're fighting for our God-given freedoms, and you just don't mess with the mamas, because the mamas are protecting those little bears. And we do. And I know there's a lot of moms here in the audience. And often people will say to me, Steve says this to me too, you're not a mom, but your mama was so important to you, or your wife. You've seen your wife teach and love your children. So moms are just special. As President Reagan said, freedom is a fragile thing. It is never more than one generation from extinction. It is not ours by inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it only comes once to a people. Those who have known freedom and then lost it have never known it again. As a wife and a mom of 3, my heart resonates with that quote with Ronald Reagan. It is very special. And I think it's simple why it's so special. Mothers, fathers, I'm going to include the dads here. By the way, we're the moms group that likes men. You know, unless we'll say, oh, hear that from people like, you're in a mom's group, you must be, you know, this, women's group. And we're like, no, we love the dads. We love our husbands. We're not anti-men. We just have a special calling for the mamas. So I'm not leaving the men out here tonight, because you as dads, you as mentors, you as grandfathers, we can't do it without you. Your wives, your children cannot do it without you dads. So as I'm speaking about moms, because that is my passion, I am including you dads. So it's simple. I guess we as moms and as dads are instinctually defenders by nature. We as moms, dads can't do this, but we carry our children in our womb. We birth them into this world, or we may have adopted them into our families. We cultivate their hearts, and we teach their minds. We protect their lives, and we as moms love these little humans far beyond what words can describe. We, mothers and fathers, we will defend the Republic, because this land, America, offers a horizon of opportunities and a place for our children to dream and to succeed. Our mission at Moms for America is reclaiming our culture for truth, family, freedom, and the Constitution. Our threefold vision is to empower moms, promote liberty, and to raise patriots. We are building a foundation of liberty in the homes all across America. We empower and inspire moms in their incredible divine role. You are special, and you are anointed by God when He gives you that child. We raise up those kids, and with a faith-filled home, we teach them patriotism, we pray with them. We believe that we will save America by restoring patriotism in the hearts of our children. We just recently released a whole initiative called Restoring Patriotism, and a backpack and an activity book and a whole resource so parents can restore patriotism in their home and teach that at their kitchen table. I have no doubt that the mothers of America will heal our land one home at a time. The mamas are true defenders, and they will not let anyone harm their children. This culture, we just talked about it, I don't have to tell you how bad it is. It is horrific what they are doing to our children. The attacks are insane. They're redefining them, and we will not stand for this. These are our children. They are not yours, President Biden. When you so brassly said that children are the government's and the schools, well, they're not. We as mothers will pray over our children. We will mold the character of their hearts. We'll foster their faith, and we will plant a love of freedom that grows their spirits into amazing world changers. Moms for America, I don't want this to be a commercial, but we are a resource. We are here to help. We have podcasts, Liberty Lessons. We teach moms about the principles of liberty and America's amazing heritage. We provide topical information on very interesting topics that are affecting all of us: critical race, social emotional learning, how to run for school board. We've endorsed some of the candidates here. Education. If you want to be endorsed, let me know. It's mfaaction.com, but we are endorsing candidates at our action side. We help with education, we mentor, we teach about homeschooling, parental rights, so many topics, because really every issue is a mom's issue. Really? I mean, you can't think about anything that isn't a mom issue. So we try to help in all of those areas. Again, it's momsforamerica.us. But I'm just going to share one quick story as I close, and it's the power of mom. I mean, I know we all, as moms and dads, have incredible stories to share within our home, but I just saw a clip about Thomas Edison and his mom. So Thomas Edison came home, I think he was about 8 years old, and this was in a movie, so it was really easy. I'll try to paint it for you. But he came home from school one day, and he gave his mom, he was about 8, he gave his mom a letter from the school. And he's sitting there, he's so downcast. And his mom sits and she says, "What's going on, Thomas?" And Thomas gives Mama the letter. And she could tell that he's sad, and she opens the letter, and it's from the headmaster at his school. And she reads it, but this is what it really says. It really says, "Your son is basically stupid. We do not want him in this school anymore. Take him home and teach him yourself. He's no longer welcome in this school." But that mama, she didn't read that to her son at 8 years old. She opened the letter and she said, "Mrs. Edison, your son is too smart for us. He will go on to be a great man, but we cannot teach him here. Would you take him home and teach him?" She read that to that child. And there goes history, right? One of the greatest inventors of all time. Thomas didn't know about this until after his mom was gone, and he found that letter, and he remembered that story. But moms, stories like that are so true, because we speak the hope to our children. So to all of you here today, to the moms, to the dads, you are heroes, you are warriors, and you will save America and your family. God bless.
We would like to hear that song.
God bless you, Debbie. And Moms for America has endorsed a whole bunch of our Homer Township candidates.
Yes, they have.
We thank you a whole bunch for that. God bless you. Jim, you got something?
Can I say a couple words?
Sure.
Sorry.
Jimmy Economics, I say that right?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We talked about a lot of these things as far as what to do. And a couple of my recollection, I was in the studio with John Anthony, and there was a couple of days there, they talked about a book called It's Perfectly Normal. And I had brought this book up on Urban Talk Radio, because I'm friends with some of the DJs there. I said, you see what's inside this book? Graphic images of kids doing all sorts of weird, bad things. You know, I'm an adult, if you're an adult, that's fine, but kids should not have it. So these guys have talked about this on Urban Talk Radio. Remember this book I told you about? What do you mean with the gay sex? Yeah, this is being taught in your schools. It's all endorsed by these black leaders that say they have their kids' best interest in mind. Look what they're giving us. Now also, I got a video somebody sent me. It's a 6-year-old kid reading from one of these books in some school someplace. So what we have to do with these books, we have to shame them. Say, shame on you, Mr. Legislator. This is the perversion that you're giving our kids. Put it in their face and shame them. We can sit here and talk about ourselves, and we all support each other, and that's good. But out in the field, in the media, in my opinion, and that's why I think Talk Radio is a good media, we need to shame these people and say, look at this garbage you're giving our kids. You gotta shame them. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Department, God bless all of you. God bless your families. And Ruben said that when you guys leave, well, we got a lot of food to eat, so you want to eat the food and talk to everybody. But we go up to Ruby Gabi for what we call an after party. It's 159th Street, just west of Go Road. So it's on the north side of the street. So God bless everybody and thank you for coming.
You were so persistent, you wore down my resistant, I fell. And it was swell. I'm your big and brave and handsome Romeo. How I won you, I shall never know. It's not that I'm attractive, but oh, my heart grew active when you came into view. I got a crush on you, sweetie pie, all the day and night time. Hear me sigh. That's all.